Alabama is supposed to have one of the weirdest laws in America. Not about guns, not about moonshine, not about marrying your cousin. Ice cream. Specifically, carrying ice cream in your back pocket. The story usually comes with a perfect little explanation too. A horse thief could tuck an ice cream cone into his back pocket, stroll past somebody else's horse, and the horse would just follow him down the road like it had made a terrible life choice. No rope, no chase, no witness seeing a man steal anything. Just one melting dessert and one disappearing horse. And honestly, that story is almost too good. It sounds old, it sounds specific, it sounds exactly like the kind of law that would have to exist somewhere in America. Because if you go back far enough, horse theft was not a joke crime. For most of the 19th century and well into the early 20th, a horse was not some cute farm accessory. It was your transportation, your labor, your delivery vehicle, your tractor, and sometimes your entire livelihood rolled into one nervous animal with legs. If somebody stole your horse, they did not just steal property. They could strand you, cripple your work, and wipe out months of value in one shot. So right away, the back pocket story hooks into something real. People really did care about horse theft. A lot. Alabama definitely cared. In the old Alabama criminal code, livestock theft was serious enough that lawmakers spelled it out almost animal by animal. The 1886 Criminal Code's grand-larceny section does not mess around. It lists horse, mare, gelding, colt, filly, mule, jack, jenny, cow, hog, sheep, and more. That's not folklore. That's a real state code, written for a real agricultural world where losing an animal could be a financial disaster. In other words, Alabama law absolutely had room for horse thieves. Just maybe not ice cream horse thieves. And that's where this story gets interesting, because the fake laws that survive the longest are usually not completely detached from reality. They grow out of a real fear, a real custom, a real industry, or a real legal problem. Then over time, all of that history gets crushed down into one absurd image that people can remember in 2 seconds. California had that with the whale law. Illinois had it with the cigar and dog story. Alabama seems to have it here. Real livestock law, real concern about stolen horses. Then, somewhere along the way, all of that turns into dessert in your jeans. And to be fair, the trick itself is weirdly believable. Not because ice cream is some legendary horse magnet, but because it sounds like a loophole. That's the genius of the story. The thief isn't dragging the animal away, he isn't jumping on the horse bareback and galloping into the night. He is just walking. The horse is the one doing the following. It's the legal equivalent of a cartoon bank robber backing out the door with the cash while saying, "No, technically the money chose to come with me." That's why people repeat it. It has mechanics. You can picture it happening. And once you can picture a fake law, you're already halfway to believing it. You can see the cone sticking out of the pocket. You can see the Alabama road. You can see the horse clopping along behind some idiot with vanilla dripping down his pants. You can see why a sheriff would get tired of it. The whole thing arrives preloaded with its own movie scene. That is much easier to remember than the actual truth, which is that agricultural states wrote blunt, practical theft statutes for valuable animals and kept writing them for decades. Reality has paperwork. Myth has visuals. Myth usually wins. And Alabama has plenty of paperwork. Even today, the state code still treats livestock theft as its own thing. Current Alabama law says theft of livestock, including cattle, swine, equine animals, and sheep, counts as theft in the second degree regardless of value. The state also has a real livestock theft investigator in the code. There are rules about bills of sale, rules about transport records, rules about keeping enough documentation to help trace lost or stolen animals. That is a dead giveaway that this was never some cute little joke topic in the law. The state still takes animal theft seriously enough to build an entire enforcement trail around it. Which raises the obvious questions. If Alabama had all these real laws about horses, mules, cattle, branding, ownership, transport, and theft, then why does the internet never quote any of those? Why is the only law anybody remembers the one with the ice cream cone? Because real law is boring to copy and fake law is portable. Real law stays attached to a section number, a code book, a date, an archive, a legislature. Fake law can bounce from website to website forever with no source at all. One trivia page posts it, another rewrites it, a radio host repeats it, a classroom worksheet picks it up. A map of weird state laws turns it into a bright cartoon icon. After that, repetition starts to masquerade as evidence. And that is exactly what seems to have happened here. Versions of this story have been pinned not just to Alabama, but to other states too, depending on who is copying whom. Sometimes it's ice cream. Sometimes it's specifically an ice cream cone. Sometimes the explanation is horse theft. Sometimes the horse explanation disappears and the law just floats around as pure nonsense with no context at all. That is not how real statutes behave. Real statutes usually get more precise when you dig into them. Fake ones get blurrier, they travel, they mutate, they pick up new details, they lose old ones, they turn into folklore. So I started looking for the actual Alabama text, not the meme version, not a listicle, not a crazy laws by state page, the actual law. And this is where the story starts to come apart. In the official Alabama legislature code search, back pocket turns up nothing, not one relevant statute. Search for ice cream. And Alabama does have laws for that, but they are exactly the sort of laws a functioning state would have. Dairy definitions, adulteration rules, misbranding rules, business licenses. One current section literally defines what ice cream is for regulatory purposes. Alabama's legal system is prepared for a dishonest dairy merchant. It is not, apparently, prepared for a horse hypnotized by frozen dessert. Then I checked the older code material too, and again, what shows up is real, practical law. Grand-larceny, animal descriptions, ownership language, livestock categories, the kind of stuff you would expect from a state with farms, trade routes, sheriffs, and anxious property owners. What does not show up is any law about carrying ice cream in a pocket. No pocket statute, no cone statute, no horse following statute, no hidden section saying, yes, we were all dealing with this in 1904. The more legal history you find, the less the famous law looks real. Which, in a strange way, makes the myth more revealing, not less. Because now you can see what people wanted this story to be. They wanted an old world scam, they wanted a frontier loophole, they wanted lawmakers being forced to write something hilariously specific because some local criminal had outsmarted common sense. That is the fantasy behind half of America's dumb law myths. Not just that the law was silly, but that it was written in response to one incredibly stupid, incredibly human problem. The back pocket horse thief is memorable because he feels like a real guy, even if the law doesn't. And by this point, the reveal is not really a reveal anymore. It's more like the last piece clicking into place. Alabama had real horse and livestock theft law. Alabama still has livestock-specific theft law. Alabama has real enforcement rules designed to trace stolen animals. That whole legal world is real and easy to document. But the famous line about carrying ice cream in your back pocket, that part does not hold up. Not as a confirmed Alabama statute. Not from anything official I could trace. The joke survived. The source didn't. So the honest version of this episode is a little better than the meme. No, Alabama probably did not ban ice cream in your back pocket. Yes, Alabama absolutely did live in a world where horse theft was serious enough to shape real law, and that's usually how these stories work. The weird law itself is fake, but it grows out of a real fear, a real economy, and a real piece of forgotten legal history. Somewhere between the codebook and the internet, grand larceny turned into vanilla, which is dumb, just not in the way the listicles think.